Yeah, that's not a problem.
Hello, everybody who can hear these fun comms that are ready and roaring to go here. Frico and Star in the booth here. This is actually two matches in one. It's traiLZ versus Taco and Shatty versus Artie.
Yeah,
All
hi
right.
everyone, I'm Star, and here's Rico. We'll be your comms for today.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of a tough ask for you this time around, Star. First time doing comms, and here you get two matches all in one. So we have two runners on the top, traiLZ and Taco, as we're going to refer to them as, racing against each other, as well as Shatty and Artea racing against each other. So the results only matter between those two runners. As much as I expect traiLZ to finish first out of everybody, he'll only defeat Taco. Shatty and Artea have their own match between themselves. This is the first round. It is the first round of the standard tournament for Z2R, and we're coming out of the gates with featuring our Max Rando champion, traiLZ. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the other three runners, so traiLZ.
Yeah, my guess is as good as yours. They have found a town here just to the southwest of the starting palace. I can't tell you what town it is.
It's not one they're going to be very interested in at the start. Nothing that they can get.
Might have been Rudo is the one, if I'm remembering my towns correctly.
Artea found the backside of Saria, which doesn't really matter until you have ferry or
to get across the bridge.
Yeah.
Or you find the front side of it. There's a river here for Shatty.
Yeah, so a little bit of exploration. It looks like Artea's found an item cave.
And Shatty's found Death Mountain.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to spend too much time here in Death Mountain starting off like this. 111.
Yeah. 111, no extra anything. Good luck in Death Mountain. He is choosing to try and check it out a bit, though. Artea needs to... Okay, actually, Artea continuing through this item cave here. I think traiLZ might be in the same place, it looks like. And,
that is correct.
And Taco and Shatty are just exploring right now.
So traiLZ trying to deal with the Red Dyra. Pretty vicious enemy to get right at the start. traiLZ...
It is.
Ooh, Artea finding a heart at the end of the cave. So traiLZ will find that same heart, probably up in A similarly to Artea.
I would expect so. And, ooh, there's the any key, or magical key, I forgot what it's called in this game for Taco. I think Shatty's... There it is for Shatty as well. That'll be nice. That gives them palace access whenever they get the items for find the things.
Well, it depends on what palaces we find. You find Palace 1, you're pretty much good to go. Looks like traiLZ poking in, and I was not able to take a look at pillars to identify what palace it was.
I was not either, but it looks like Taco is heading that way as well, and we'll see what it is. That is 1, I think? Yeah, that's Palace 1.
No floating eyeball, so that's Palace 1, so... Taco having the benefit of the any key will not have to worry about any of the locked doors, and it looks like Shatty taking a similar route as well.
Indeed, Right pink palette here, that's something.
Well, Horsehead was doing a little bit of remodeling, I guess, new ownership, and, you know...
And there's the item in 1, is the hammer!
Ooh, that is a good find. So, Taco has an advantage over traiLZ, and now Shatty, you know, developing an item advantage, albeit temporarily.
Yes, Artea picks up. Yes, indeed. traiLZ, in the meantime, is doing exploration, has not yet found the cave that has his key. Taco just slightly ahead of Shatty here in P1. Is very low on health, though, and oh, there's a death. Ouch.
Well, still 2 extra guys left, so not that big of a deal.
No, Shatty was in a similar spot, but did manage to get a life level in time to avoid the same fate as Taco. Otherwise, though, they're in basically the same spot. And Artea isn't far behind as traiLZ continues doing some exploration.
Yeah, we're gonna see Artea finding the hammer in short order, moving in the
heading
proper
in the
direction.
right direction. It's just further left here.
Yeah,
traiLZ
found
finding
it.
the Saria front end. No, that's not. Actually, that's not. Sorry, that's Ruru or Rudo. I can't remember which one's which.
Well, I know nothing. Just like a couple of these potential hint-giving members of the town.
Indeed, and I do believe that is Rowdy actually here on the west.
Alright, so traiLZ going to pick up our first spell, while Taco, Artea, and Shatty all go through. And
Palace
unfortunately,
1. That's Reflect.
Yeah, I thought that was Shield, but no, that is Reflect. So that is a pretty key spell that we're gonna need.
Indeed, because they
need that.
do need to complete all 6 palaces, including Palace 4, which hard requires Reflect to beat the boss.
That is correct.
Nice early find. We don't know where Palace 4 is, mind you.
Well, once traiLZ gets there, he won't have to worry about if he has Reflect or not. And it looks like Artea's actually the first to find the boss.
He is! Interesting. I don't remember if I saw him pick up the hammer.
Yeah,
I was looking
all
more at...
three of the runners that have been in Palace 1 all have the hammer.
Interesting that Artea entered the palaces. Good. Maybe a minute or something behind Taco and Shatty, but is the first to deposit his gem at the 5 minute and like 5 minute 38 seconds here.
Now, Artea made a little bit of a mistake here. And Shadow Magi in the chat pointing it out that Artea only got 20 points of experience from dunking that gem.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Artea actually go out to the left, pick up that 20 experience, so that way we've got another more expensive level, which probably would have ended up being Magic 2.
Yeah, speaking of, Artea has found the front end of Saria, it looks like here. Should be able to pick up another spell. Shatty is now on Horsehead, and traiLZ has found his way into P1.
Yeah, so all four runners have the hammer now. traiLZ actually coming from the hammer location. So.
And that's very out of Saria here for Artea.
Still a very good find, however, possibly not as important with the key already in hand.
Indeed. Still nice, especially for getting around the map. And for palaces later on. It's going to continue exploring the overworld, as is Taco, since I don't think I remember seeing Taco complete P1.
No, it looked like they noped out. Taco instead going for...
killing some enemies, perhaps trying to get a bit more levels before facing off against Corset, I assume?
Well, this red Dyra is not something that I would want to go up against. I would just run past it, personally.
I would as well. With how
Get
much
the
trouble...
item. And Taco needs to be slashing while they're still in the air, otherwise they won't be able to pin that Dyra against the wall and kind of hit stun it into oblivion. So a little bit of an execution error.
Ooh, there's the raft for Artea here.
So unfortunately,
which I think was up on the north coast somewhere of... yeah, kind of up near the north.
Well, either way, now Artea not only has a palace done and dusted, now they have access to the eastern continent. If there's nothing else here on the west, which we're gonna need a little bit more time to figure that all out. Alright.
Yep, there's Mido. Not much they can do there right now. Kind of need medicine to get in.
Well, Artea does have the medicine. However, they don't have jump, so they would kind of have to double dip.
Right. Also, this is Palace 2 here for, no, this is actually P5. Whoops, got the two mixed up. This is P5 here for Artea.
Now, I actually would have gone in and delivered the medicine, personally speaking, because there's a chance that the medicine could have led to jump.
Which would be very convenient.
Correct. You could also use Fairy, but I'm not sure if Artea is aware of that interaction for using Fairy to satisfy going into the downstab room.
Right. Taco is about to get Reflect here. traiLZ is off the Force Head. Shatty is not having any luck.
Now, unfortunately, Shatty is taking a couple dips in the sauna, which I do not advise for those of you watching this race.
No. Oh, where was the medicine, by the way? Because I actually completely missed that earlier from Artea.
I believe Artea found it in a grass tile.
Ah, that would make sense.
It was a grass tile in the middle of, I think, a swamp or a forest. But, ooh, what is this mess? traiLZ and Taco just kind of,
walks into a pretty ugly, encounter there.
Yeah.
Shatty was having no luck and has up and 8 out of whichever cave he was in, and is now going to continue exploring, along with Taco and traiLZ, as Artea tries to get through Palace 5 here. Taking a death.
Palace 5 is not exactly the most friendly palace to go in early in the game.
No, 3-1-2 right now here for Artea. Not the best.
Well, the problem is you're going to have to deal with Boss Guma at the end of it, and I would ideally want to have Attack 5 going against Boss Guma, just as a reference. So this is kind of compounding the potential error that Artea had made with the first gem placement being less than ideal.
Right. Because a gem will give you enough experience all the way up to the next level, whatever that might be, but if you're only 20 points from the next level, you just wasted your time on that one.
Yeah, unfortunate. Now see, Artea does have Fairy, so they have a spell. They may not know that they could have gone to Mido with the medicine, got another spell, and then used Fairy to get the downstab. The downstab is going to work wonders in areas like this, where you have a Stalfos and an Iron Knuckle. You can just bounce off of them with downstab and try to run away, essentially.
Yeah, kind of pogo stick your way across and get out of there.
Exactly.
Taco has now found their way into Death Mountain. traiLZ and Shatty are both exploring caves, and I think that's another death for Artea.
Now unless they can't cast Fairy right now, which is the only thing that I know they have the spell, but yeah, 94, that's no good. And Artea not actually jumping up, just kind of resigning fate.
Yeah, I think they were hoping to be able to cast Fairy there, but no such luck. traiLZ, by the way, has found the raft in the meantime. And it's gonna find this palace here, which is either P3 or P6 up on the northernmost part of the western continent here.
Alright, so we have 1, 5, and either 3 or 6, which means 2, 4, and the other one of 3 and 6, along with Great Palace, are going to be on the east.
Correct.
Oh,
Have we actually seen the ramp tile while I'm thinking about it?
I have not, but Artea, this is actually Palace 2. Helmet Head.
Oh, I got the two mixed up. Whoops.
That's alright. Stuff happens.
I have not figured out how to tell these two palaces apart yet. Probably should have put an indicator when these two were when this one is short. Yeah, well. So yeah, 5.
Right.
So yeah, 4, 5, and whichever one of 3 or 6 isn't on the left.
Yeah, so we could actually have a seed where we have Northern Palace, which is the starting palace, 1, 2, and 3, all on the west, and then 4, 5, 6, and Great Palace, all on the east, as if it were vanilla game. Taco going, yeah, Taco going through the motions, finding the mirror, so they will unlock the access to this spell, which I'm already confused with Forerunners as to which one exactly it is. Alright, Fairy for Taco.
Yeah, that is sick, Fairy. traiLZ is now with Mido.
Now, if he's found the medicine, he will turn in the medicine and then go into... go west, find the raft. Thank you for that.
Thanks! I would think the raft would be on the western continent somewhere, otherwise this game wouldn't be beatable.
Yeah. Yeah, what, life, death, taxes, and the raft being on the western continent are, certain things that you can count on being in this randomizer, so...
Yeah, also Artea does remember now about Fairy, and that is Thunder in Mido for traiLZ.
Yeah, so Artea actually opted out of getting Thunder, which... Oopsie diddle.
Indeed, is gonna get downstab here, which is nice.
So I believe Taco finding the Stonehenge tile.
Which is, I think, just a key bag.
Medicine.
Oh, is that the medicine? Okay. And Shatty just picked up Fairy as well.
So Shatty finding the medicine. traiLZ actually into Death Mountain.
It is up to 445, so it has enough levels to be able to make some headway in here.
Yeah, traiLZ had a little bit of a rough start, but all told, I think traiLZ has a bit of a plan here. Hammer in hand, gonna pick out Spectacle Rock.
Nice 1,000-point P-bag, not bad.
Yeah, that helps when you were at 277 and now at 1277 when your next level is at 1350.
Yeah, just needs 83 more points. No.
73.
73 more points, can't math.
That's alright.
Alright, Taco is about to find P3 or 6. I guess we're gonna find out which one is here now.
Shatty finding the raft as traiLZ finding the Hammer Cave, so we're gonna know real quick from traiLZ's side of things if we have a Death Mountain that is going to yield useful items, or gonna just give us a P-bag and a 1-up doll, or some other nonsense.
Yep. 1,000-point P-bag is at least a nice payout, even if it's not exactly what you're looking for. It is nice to have, at least, if nothing else. Out of the Spectacle Rock. Teddy is in Mido now. Taco is plugging through. You think this is P6? Or...
Can I let you know when we get to the boss? We're either gonna see a Rebanak really early, or a Rebanak really late.
Yeah, and there's a glove in Hammer Cave for traiLZ.
Yeah, so that was a fortunate find, the gloves being in Death Mountain, Hammer Cave. And hello, Mew Fan 152. I think I've seen you elsewhere earlier in the day today. As get a couple people in here watching the races.
Indeed, we have a double header here. We have traiLZ and Taco along with Shatty and Artea. They both scheduled their matches at the same time, so we decided to restream them both all together. So, more fun for everyone. And I think Taco decided to call it quits out of whichever palace that is.
Yeah, it's either 3 or 6. And
I don't think I've gotten a clear answer out of that yet, yeah. Shatty, I think, just picked up Thunder.
Correct.
traiLZ is now trying to find his way back out of Death Mountain, looks like, as Taco finds Mido.
Well, traiLZ might semi-be married to his level here.
He does not want to give up that 1,000-point P-bag, and I can't blame him.
Oh no, he cashed that in for Life 6, so I have to ridicule him for taking life levels so early on like this.
Yeah, fair. Like, Life 5 should be enough for someone like traiLZ to get by on for a bit.
But traiLZ not even dunking a single gem into a palace at this point. You know, he's looking at two life levels, 2 magic levels, 2 attack levels, so effectively at 6, 6, 8 at this point, without so much as placing a single gem.
Yeah, and 6, at least on our restream tracker, he's got the horse head mark. We have horse head mark.
Oh right, he did do Palace 1. I apologize.
Yeah. You know,
So
we still not sure which one is P3, if it's 3 or 6, and up on the north coast there. And we have Palace 2 is around here somewhere.
Well,
Artea is now checking out Death Mountain as Taco picks up Thunder.
I believe everybody has Thunder now, as Artea finds the Hammer Cape, so we'll be rewarded with the glove.
Indeed. Probably pretty quick, too, I think. Hasn't found Spectacle Rock yet.
Well, I think Spectacle Rock was along the way, but I'm not sure if Artea has the hammer. I cannot see the trackers, unfortunately, since it's
Artea
the full layout.
Is marked as having the tracker on Restream. I have, on the side.
Do they have the hammer?
They have the hammer marked.
Okay.
We have seen all 4 of these runners do Palace 1 at this point. Shatty and our Taco, speaking of, are now going to go dig out P2.
Alright, so Artea about to get the good news. That's going to be a glove. Not
as
sure
long as they don't die here.
Well, they took a death after picking up the glove, but
okay.
I would have just immediately up an aid at this point, but...
Yeah, just 286, not really enough XP to continue, really.
Artea may not have found Spectacle Rock yet or explored it.
Quite possibly, yeah, with 432 they might not have found that 1,000-point P-bag yet.
I mean, I like the magic and attack levels, but Artea might want to invest a little bit more in some life levels.
Yeah, because they've had some troubles with enemies, this seed. And yeah, we saw the Spectacle Rock in the bottom right now, so Artea needs to find his way there, is another story.
Yeah, that is going to be the issue, is finding their way into that area. Well, it looks like just a simple walk.
Yeah, they just need to walk around. Okay, they found themselves out of Death Mountain. Now they can get themselves to Spectacle Rock and pick up that nice 1,000-point P-bag.
Alright, so this should yield... Okay. I would have
they decided to not take Magic 4. The 770 was Magic 4, it looked like, for them.
Yeah.
Not sure whether or not taking life levels, though. It's gonna take attack instead.
Well, if you overflow your levels like this, you can actually backfill your life levels by dunking a crystal into a palace. Because you'll be awarded experience for attack 6 if you set it up properly. So you can use all of that experience to instead fill up your life levels and or potentially a magic level or 2 along the way.
Right. And there's a helmet head down for Shatty while we're at it. It's going to be dunking his crystal now. Artea's back in P2 now, actually. Huh?
So all of our runners, well, Shatty on their way out, actually... Not sure what happened there. Shatty might have made a little bit of a mistake thinking that they might have been able to still get the XP from the crystal. I'm not sure if they got the level up or not. Watching over the 4 runners all at the same time, I want to say I have my eyes on everybody, but they're kind of going around in circles, as it were, trying to watch where all of the runners are.
Yeah, trying to keep track of where everyone is, what they've gotten, where they're going. I don't actually remember what the item is here in P2 offhand. Nice 500 P bag for Taco. Gonna
So
take Magic 4 here.
So if they open up their inventory, I'll get a good look at if they're able to cast Fairy and or Thunder at this point. Oh. And it looks like they're out of there. Taco no longer wanting anything to do with Palace 2.
Indeed, Artea re-diving it. I think they killed Helmet Head earlier, so it's just gonna come back in looking for the item, I suppose. Shatty is in whichever palace this is. Either 3 or 6.
Yeah, I think Taco's on their way over there as well to join Shatty. No, Taco's actually going into Death Mountain at this point.
Gonna go dig out the 1000-point P bag and the glove, I assume, at this point.
Yeah, Taco... kind of playing a little bit of, hot and cold, and unfortunately we know Taco not heading in the right direction.
No, unfortunately this is not the heart of Death Mountain where they want to be.
Well, Taco just needs to keep voyaging north.
Oh, and there's the boots for Artea here in Palace 2.
That is an important item.
That is.
Very
I don't
much
think I've
so.
seen that yet from these runners, which is interesting.
Well, sometimes you nope out of a dungeon thinking you're gonna get away with it. Not this time. Palace 2 with the boots, so now Artea has more of the map open to them.
Indeed, I don't think we've seen that raft tile yet. I know there's been at least some areas of water that might be blocking parts of the...
Well, the
continent
boots
off.
could actually be required because the raft tile ends up in an area that's only accessible if you have the boots. There are the
Right.
rivers, and if there isn't a bridge, well, you can't get across.
No, you can't. Here
Oh,
it
there it
is, just at the very southernmost part of the continent. Jeez, that's not the friendliest of spots.
Alright, so Artea
There's
finally...
Artea.
Old Kasuto for Artea.
I think. Oh wait, no, that's our Katsudo. Can't tell the two. Alright, yeah, Old Katsudo, which there's jump.
Well, Old Kasuto is basically a ruined town with just MOAs in it. Darunia actually has
Oh yeah, no, got the two mixed up.
completely built buildings. But it's alright. It's confusing for me even still to figure out some towns from others, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Alright, but yeah, that is jump there for Artea. Nice to have. The Old Kasudo. Shatty is out doing exploration as Taco's about to get the glove and traiLZ is plugging through P2.
Taco rightfully picking up that life level. I'm not sure why they would want to walk back here. Spectacle Rock is right next to the entranceway to Death Mountain, so... Again, I can't see the tracker, so... If Taco has the hammer, there's no reason why they shouldn't have just up and aid from my perspective, because I feel it's easier to get to Spectacle Rock.
Indeed, Artea has found the water tile, which has the child.
That's a good find. We still have... actually, not the best find. We have Reflect, we have Thunder, we have Fairy. So the child isn't going to be the most useful of spell.
No, and that child was just north of Maze Island, which has the first item right away here. I look for Artea, which is unfortunately just a heart container. Not gonna pass it up though. traiLZ is now on Helmet Head, has taken him down for his second gem at the 29-minute mark.
Well, that heart might be less than unfortunate for Artea. They are still on life 3, and they have found Palace 4. I do not believe they have Reflect, unfortunately. So Artea will not be able to finish Palace 4. I believe they have Fairy and Thunder so far.
That is correct, looking at the restream tracker. They have found all the other items and Reflect, and the reptile, which is kind of annoying. It's all the way on the southernmost edge of the western continent. I'm not entirely surprised we haven't seen it yet, considering for that roundup.
And
And there's
Artea
another palace just
decide-
south of Maze Island, which is yep. That here is P5 here for Artea, bright green.
I think that was the same column as our Palace 3 or 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Might have been, no, I'm pretty sure that was I'm pretty sure this is P5, because they've seen P1.
Well, 1 and 4 we know, they share the same columns.
Oh
2
no,
and
1 and
5
4, sorry.
Yeah,
No,
1
we've
and-
seen 2 already, this is 5.
So 2 and 5 share the same columns, as well as 3 and 6.
Yeah,
when
no,
you're
this is
first entering
this
it.
is 5 because I don't recall seeing the scroll-like pillar tops that. Yeah, you see it there from Artea. That is definitely P5.
Yep, that's Boss
Especially
Guma.
because here's Guma.
Yeah. That's an easy way to tell it's Palace 5. Guys, Boss Guma is the boss of Palace 5, so, yeah. That'll put an end to that debate real quick.
Yes, and there's speaking of both Taco and Artea taking a death to their respective bosses. Taco dying to Helmet Head and Artea dying to Guma. They both had a life left at least.
Now,
Shatty also
Artea's
taking
gonna
a-
have a potentially rough time of this. This is where the Life 3 doesn't really help you, because getting zapped by that one, mace, that took away 4 blocks of life.
He's on 2-shot range for that, yeah.
Yeah, so
And
Artea's
speaking of,
bouncing off of the mace a second time, not an advisable plan of attack.
no,
Artea doesn't have life, shield, no real defensive options to really help out in this fight.
no,
So-
Life 3 isn't helping either. Shatty just picked up the glove. Taco is killed off. Killed off Helmet Head is now gonna go get his boots out of here, sorry.
Yeah.
traiLZ is continuing through. I still don't know which dungeon this is, so I'm thinking it's might be P6 at the rate this is going. And
Well, we either see a Rebanak as the boss, or we see a Rebanak as a mini-boss, if it's 3
and
or
that'll
6.
clear it up for sure.
So, 3 or 6, that's the easy way I can tell 3 or 6 apart, but I'm almost certain with these drop-downs, traiLZ is in 6.
Yep. Yeah, chat confirming, thank you. Yep, it is 6. I figured at this point, with all the rooms we've seen, it's P6, and Artea here is finished off, finally managed to finish off Guma, which was extremely fast to get to, by the way. Like, it did not take him long at all to find his way to Guma.
And not having any of it when it comes to trying to fish the item out of P5.
No, he's like, finally managed to kill Guma, and nope's out of there.
So the one thing I'm potentially worried about from Artea's side is they know they need Reflect for Palace 4.
Yes.
So I'm
And-
a little worried that they may think the trophy, for example, would be needed to get Reflect. If Artea doesn't have it, I get
We have not seen the trophy yet. I think it's probably here somewhere on the east, but we know, unfortunately for Artea, that Reflect is just sitting over on the west. Just sitting in Rauru, which I'm pretty sure you've seen by now. I don't think that town is particularly hard to find.
no. Artea actually opted out of it.
What confuses me, Rauru is a free spell, and it wasn't a particularly hard town to find. I think they all saw all the towns on the west.
So here we go. Artea going for attack 6, bypassing life 5 and magic 4. As you can see,
Call 1900 points almost here to get that attack 6.
Now,
Taco is now getting boots.
if there were an easily placeable crystal, I'm all for this strategy from Artea. I'd like to see this inside a palace, not out in the overworld like this, because you get kind of lost, and next thing you know, you're, in a sense, married to your XP, and
Right.
lose a bunch of time.
Shatty just picking up Reflect now, speaking of, as Artea has found the Runia here.
And so this will be upstab for Artea.
And we'll also, having picked up the... Actually, does he have the child yet?
I know somebody has it. I believe Artea found it on the water tile. So
Yes, he did, so he can turn in that for a spell here. Yeah, because the water tile was just north of Maze Island.
So I'm not sure if this spell is going to be of much use, but it could be Fire, Shield, Life. There are definitely options for potentially useful spells to be found.
Indeed. This magic... Okay, that is fire. Now the question is, what spell is fire linked to?
I think we're about to find out. Artea looked to have it equipped. Probably just gonna grip it and rip it here. See what we've got.
Indeed. Because the spell that fire is linked to is randomized in Zelda 2 Rando, and if it happens to be thunder or something, that could be a very nice cheapo thunder. Or something similar.
Yeah, that's very true. The fire spell link actually goes both ways. So if you were to cast the other spell that fire is linked to, for example, if it were linked to jump, you cast jump and start throwing fireballs, you can then figure out, okay, fire is linked to jump now.
Right. Oh, we did also see a three-eyed rock there from Artea.
Yeah, so that means the flute is in play.
It is, because that is blocking either blocking Great Palace or P3, with the other being in the Valley of Death.
Yeah, that's unfortunate news, because with that flute being required, Artea may well have to dive back into Palace 5.
Which is unfortunate, because that's annoying. They will at least have a reason to go back there once they finally find Reflect, since P5 is right next to Maze Island, if nothing else.
That is true. Artea does have one overworld area to check. Or, excuse me, overworld cave, and it looks like Artea is trying to find it, and, well, that wasn't too far away. Oh, hello!
That was thunder linked to fire. Nice. I think.
Yeah, shooting fireballs out, so fire would have to be linked to thunder at this point. So Artea, bit of a find there. So maybe investing in some magic levels might not be a bad idea.
No, because that'll one-shot just about everything on screen. Thunder is very nice to have. You can get it cheap. And fire is going to be cheaper than, Whoopsies, Artea, you do not want to go back into the starting palace.
Well, might have wanted to reset the encounters.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Wait a second, I went this way already. Let me, nope, go back. Other way, other way.
Yeah, to note, none of the other runners have managed to find that raft tile yet. We know it is on the far south, as far south as you can get. Trails is about to. The others are nowhere near it, unfortunately. It's kind of annoying to get to this seed, considering it's all the way in the south.
Well, Trails has the advantage of being a known veteran, so he's still going to explore, but he's running out of places that he could explore.
On the west, yeah, we've seen, I think, he's probably seen, like, all the item caves, he's seen all the palaces and all the towns, there's not much left for him. He knows he needs to find that raft tile, but going north is not gonna help him. Going north is gonna lead him in the exact opposite direction of his raft tile.
Yeah, so Trails getting a little bit debated by the map here, just not going far enough south to find the raft.
No, he wasn't too far from it. I think Taco here is pretty close too. They need to go around the south of that bit of land there, and I think that's what, yeah, they should be just south of this bit of thing here, but nope. Taco is also heading back north. Oh,
so Trails and Taco both falling for the bait, as it were. Trails finally, come on.
You need to go south!
No! Oh no! Trails was down there, but didn't go looking in the corner where the raft tile.
Oh, it's as far south as you can possibly get. And I get they don't want to go all the way that far, but they need to. That's where the raft tile is. It's as far south as you can get.
Trails, I think, has sussed it out, so...
I think he's figured he's seen everywhere else, and he's finally going to go back that way. His time picks up. Oh, that's the flute, actually. We have not seen that yet. Huh.
Wait, who found the flute there? Taco?
Yeah, they just found the flute.
Okay.
In some cave somewhere, Shatty's meant to find his way to Old Kasudu as well.
Looks like possibly the medicine cave, if I'm not mistaken, of my cave, and I usually am. But, might be
I can't tell the caves apart yet. I know it's an item cave. Artea, in the meantime, is on Barba, and doing the slow strat. Okay, that's just a... Is that a boots lock flute, actually, now that I'm looking at this bit of the map?
Yup. That's exactly what it is. So Trail's finding his way over to the eastern continent.
So that could be big for Taco, finding the flute in a kind of random part of the western continent that no one else managed to make their way to with boots yet. As Artea takes down Barba and is gonna be picking up their 4th gem here.
Yeah, so Artea, I want to say, is pretty prohibitively in the lead here against Shatty.
I would say so, considering that, although the Reflect is the biggest concern right now.
Well, for me, the biggest concern is that Taco actually has the flute where none of the other runners do.
No, because that flute is in a really annoying spot, just kind of off to... I'm not even sure where that lake is, but it's boots locked, that's for sure. And
where the river is, Artea's actually about to potentially wander into it.
Yeah, it is
over to
somewhere
the left
in this corner of the map, yes.
From where Artea is right now, they need to go left, but I think they're going to end up going back to the raft tile, which might end up being a miniature mistake of sorts for Artea.
Right.
They still have to explore the area to the left, and that's where
they're... Yeah.
Correct, that's where they find the flute.
Yeah, Trills, in the meantime, has found the child and the Maze Island, and once he gets out of here, is gonna find P5, because they're all right together.
Well, Trails has Reflect, if I'm remembering correctly, so he will have everything he needs once he pokes his head in, realizes Palace 4, but Trails wants to find both of the items in Maze Island before doing the Palace. This way he's done and dusted with Palace 4, Maze Island, just that whole section of the game will end up being out of sight, out of mind.
Right, there's just not much that could be of use at this point for trails here in Maze Island. Yep, magic container. Nice to have, but we've seen Reflect, we've seen Fairy, we've even seen Fire Linked with Thunder, we've seen Thunder itself. We know where the flute is and it's not here. There's not much left that is useful to find at this point for these runners that we don't know of.
No, it would not shock me if traiLZ just tries to find the most direct route to Karok, the boss of Palace 4, and just goes, okay, I have everything I need. Sans the flute, which might have him look for the item. But yeah, in the randomizer, Clem, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a randomized map, so the rooms inside of the dungeons also are randomized.
Indeed. Like, we saw that Guma was incredibly fast to get to in P5. I don't remember it being particularly terrible. I just remember looking over at Artea and going, oh, he's on Guma already, okay. Oh, Shatty taking a game over, feels kind of bad. Taco is plugging through P1 again. Okay, died earlier and decided to call it quits and is now back with some better levels to come beat Horsehead. traiLZ is plugging through P4.
Taco has the item out of P1, I believe it was...
The hammer.
It was the hammer, okay. I know it was a relevant item. I couldn't remember which relevant item. But yeah, it was the hammer. Okay, you're right.
We saw, okay, Artea is about to run into the Valley of Death here, and we do know that Three-Eyed Rock is a thing. Deerwolf, we've seen the Three-Eyed Rock, somewhere near the water on the south part of the eastern continent, I think, but in all honesty, my sense of direction's terrible. Taco and traiLZ both depositing gems at the same time here. traiLZ finishing off P4, Taco finishing off P1.
Now, Artea's actually making what I would consider to be a rookie mistake. When you're in Valley of Death, you slash your sword exactly 4 times, so when the monsters spawn, instead of wandering around aimlessly, they will actually home in on your location, so you're much more likely to get the proper timing for the encounter skill.
Mm-hmm. Not a really long Valley of Death today. Artea not having the most luck getting through this thing.
Well, it's not even a matter of luck, it's a matter of making the proper manipulation, which is what Artea is not executing properly. But with oh wow, Artea, even with trying to use oh no.
And
fire
there's GP.
Fire costing 76 at magic level 3.
That's unusually expensive for fire.
Not at all. Once you get to level 4, 5, maybe 6 of magic, fire will just dumpster itself down in cost. Probably.
Oh, nice, right, yeah. Trying to remember the math. Also, traiLZ, while we were discussing Artea, has managed to find his way to Guma, because this was also an extremely fast palace, and you'll be picking up his. That'll actually be his, fourth crystal. Not crystal, it's not, fourth gem here shortly.
Well, he's actually gonna be depositing his 4th gem.
Yeah, that. Words! Yeah, depositing his 4th gem, Shatty is in P2, and Artea is back to the west. Not the east, sorry. Taco's exploring. Having eventually managed to find their way to the raft tile.
Taco not actually checking out the old lady at the fountain to see if she had a hint as to where an item might be. I'm not sure if Taco needs any items, but all the same, if you know something like Karok has the P bag, then you know, alright, I don't need to deal with Palace 4 anymore. At all.
Yeah, actually, something to note, Taco on Restream doesn't have the raft marked.
Well, that would be difficult, because Taco has definitely been over into the other continent.
I was gonna say, that's a little odd.
So, you know, just a little minor snafu, no big deal. Stuff
Nope.
happened.
Artea here is actually back in P5.
So, Shatty finding the boots, which should allow access to the flute for Shatty. This might be the potential advantage or ability to make a comeback, as it were, for Shatty in their match against Artea.
Right, because they're
for the
taking longer
runner.
to get the... Because it took longer for Shatty to get to the east, and it's hampering him a bit right now, but finding that flute would be big, because it's really not the nicest of flutes to find, and we know it's required, because we did see a three-eye rock.
Yeah, we haven't seen the River Devil yet, but...
We've seen Great Palace, and I think we've seen all the other palaces. I do believe the River Devil is useless today. Might be blocking a town, but we have all the spells we need, so I don't think we really care about the River Devil today.
Yeah, you are right. The River Devil isn't exactly in an important location, so the flute definitely not needed for the aspect of the River Devil. But this is interesting, seeing that our runners don't entirely recognize... Oh, now Taco recognizing that they've not been in this area, and there might be something here, which will eventually reward Taco with the flute.
Yeah. traiLZ is going exploring with Boots and is finding something of a dead end. Gonna head back up to Artea here. Oh, not Artea, Old Kasuto here, and then just keep going.
Yep. So, more of a encounter reset for traiLZ than anything.
Pretty much.
Alright.
Artea is rediving P5 for whatever item is here. Unfortunately, we know there's nothing of particular usefulness here today.
Alright,
They've seen everything they could need for it.
So here's the big question. Is it the cross, the candle, or some other junk that is in P5? Oh, we have the candle, so it's not the candle.
Okay,
so.
Artea just decided to call it quits. And there's the River Devil for traiLZ. Probably just blocking off a dead end, in all honesty. Although we haven't seen a Rudo, or New Kasuto, I think. I probably might have just forgotten to write one of those towns down at any rate. We know they're not particularly useful at any rate, though, so, yeah.
Alright, looks like Shatty's into Maze Island and picking up the heart container for the first drop. And I believe it was...
Heart container, and I don't even remember what the second item was.
Was it a magic jar? It wasn't anything super useful, but...
I do believe it was a magic jar, yes.
It wasn't anything that was super terrible either.
No, it wasn't like a lousy pea bag or something. At least a heart container magic jar is helpful.
Alright, so here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
As my cat just knocked something off of my table, I heard it crash behind me.
I was just gonna ask what that noise was.
Yeah, my cat jumping up on the table and deciding, you know what, this doesn't need to be here.
Cats will be cats.
But,
yeah, that was a second heart. That was a heart container as a second Maze Island item, so yeah, the Maze Island exploring it was not useful.
Alright, who has Reflect right now? Out of our run?
Everyone but Artea.
Okay, so everyone but Artea has Reflect, which means they can all finish Palace. Oh, Taco actually just found the raft. Wow. All this time, and they were
somehow
confined?
Never dug out the raft out of just an item cave here on the west somewhere.
Wow. That is brutal. So, Taco going to finally be able to sail. So, alright, since you can see the tracker on the restream, I do not have it up right. Is there anything that Taco has that traiLZ does not?
Flute.
Okay, so Taco has the advantage
Taco-
of having flute.
Yes, Taco is the one and only runner to have found the flute. On the other hand, Taco is behind by a very fast P5 and a moderately long P4, I think. P5 was fast, I don't remember P4 in the slightest, really. Speaking of P4, though, Shatty's in it.
Well, this is what I'm trying to deduce here.
Although, to note, Taco is also childless.
Well, I don't think that'll matter, because Taco has Reflect Thunder.
Yeah, and Taco will also find Reflect, because it's right next to Maze Island, and not Reflect, your child is right next to Maze Island, and P5 is also right next to Maze Island for some very convenient locations.
So would Taco end up being done with this seed from the standpoint of completing palaces after finishing 4 and 5?
They might be. They have the flu, and as long as they can survive, they can clear, I think, everything. They have Hammer, Glove, Fairy, the Key, Reflect, Thunder. I think Thunder has everything. Taco has everything, actually.
Okay, so Taco can then head off to Three-Eyed Rock, finish that palace, and just clear everything out. Okay.
Yeah, because we know that P3 is in the Three-Eyed Rock at this point.
That is correct. Valley
There
of Death.
is Child for Taco. Valley of Death was the vanilla GP.
Alright, so traiLZ needs to find the flute, and quickly.
Right, because Taco is a P4 and a P5 behind, but is going to find Maze Island right here, and we know P5 is just south of here. These two were very quick. Speaking of P5, Shatty is in it. Artea is P6, I think.
What I'm worried about is Shatty and/or Artea, and possibly traiLZ, for that matter, all end up digging into palaces for the flute.
Right. Whereas we know that it's just sitting in a really annoying boots lock spot over on the west.
Yeah. So,
in some ways, that was a benefit that Taco took so long to find that craft, and that they explored the whole rest of the western continent looking for it, and somehow managed to miss the raft, but found the flute on the way, and that turns out to be a good thing right now.
well, I think traiLZ is on course to find a very particular item. No?
No, he's about to find GP, which is actually through a transport. Kind of nasty spot for it.
Oh, yuck. Yeah, so traiLZ's about to get the bad news, unfortunately. That's a shame for him.
It is. It's not exactly. It's a long Valley of Death, too, on the other end of a transport, so it is a long walk out of here.
Well, traiLZ's just gonna, take a dip in the sauna, wants his magic back so he can fairy feed himself through these encounters. For those of you that do not know, the idea of the fairy feat comes from using the fairy to... should I call it a feature or a glitch of the game, where if you touch the edge of the screen as the fairy and then immediately press the other way...
It will warp you around the side.
Correct. The game will think you've exited from the right side if you've pressed right at the end, even though you've gone to the left.
Yeah, saves you a little bit of time there. Yeah, traiLZ is currently digging the overworld, looking for that flute, I'd assume, at this point. As Shatty fights Guma, Taco's in P4, and Artea's in P6. This is traiLZ and Taco, and Shatty versus Artea. These are two separate 1v1 matchups that just happen to schedule at the same time, so we're just doing both of them together.
All
So
the
extra
runners,
for everyone.
yeah, all the runners are given the same seed, but as you said, it is traiLZ versus Taco in isolation, as well as Shatty versus Artea in isolation. So
Yes. We're just doing one seed because I don't know about you, but I sure wouldn't want to commentate two completely separate seeds at once.
oh, come on. Have a little fun, will you? Yeah, that would be a bit rough when we have two matches, two seeds at the same time, and the amount of seed confusion that would go on between the two would be catastrophically high.
Yeah.
But, you know, Artea, sitting on Magic 3 is just,
Really
driving
hurting
me
for
up
it
the
right
wall.
now.
Because Thunder forever at this point. So you almost forego everything else and say, alright, I want to jump my magic levels.
Kinda needs to, with attack 6 and life 4, I would feel that the priority at this point should be some more magic levels, just to make Thunder more castable, or in this case, Fire.
I think the problem for Artea is they may have married themselves to the idea or the strategy concept of trying to backfill their magic and life levels, and it's going to shoot them in the foot instead of
Unfortunately, yeah.
taking the magic levels, because Artea's just thrown away 450 XP here. I think they found themselves in a loop.
Right, because they can't get that, because they currently can't get that next level. Shatty's managed to find his way to a very fast, well, it's a fast to get to good one, not necessarily a fast fight. Taco's in P4 now.
Shatty's unfortunately taken a couple L's here to Boss Guma.
Yeah, Shatty's been having a bit of a rough time. I suppose I should say happy 1 hour mark, everyone. Slightly late. traiLZ is heading back east, still hasn't found a flute, unfortunately. Taco is about to find P5. And Shatty is now in that part of the map.
Alright, so we have our runners all over the place. Taco in a palace. Artea in a palace. Shatty, I believe, noping out of Palace 5.
Correct. And traiLZ is attempting to find the flute at this point, I'd assume.
That is correct.
And that is where the River Devil is, by the way, is that yellow bit, that yellow row there, if I recall correctly, should be the River Devil somewhere around there. Yep, there it is. There might be a town or something past it, but...
Well, that won't... Well, New Kasuto could be back there, but... Aside from, like, getting the spell in New Kasuto... and getting, like, a magic jar and a heart container, there's not much you're gonna get out of there.
No, like, the thing is, even if it's, like, we've seen all the items and spells we need. I mean, extra heart container, extra magic jar might be nice, but, is it worth it? Shatty picking up Fire now.
See, Fire at Magic 5 costs 19.
That's very nice. With 5 magic bars, that is 4 casts.
Fire, it looked like, cost 37, if not more, for Artea at Magic 4. So the difference between Magic 4 and Magic 5 is...
enormous. That's
massive.
That's half the price, effectively.
And Shatty going a long way to get the upstab, not aware of how to use Fairy properly to circumvent that loop around, as it were. So our runners showing a little bit of inexperience, perhaps.
Indeed, because Taco, Shatty, and Artea are relative unknowns to us. traiLZ has obviously been around for quite a while, was the Max Rando champion, but I'm afraid I'm not very familiar with Taco, Shatty, or Artea.
But, sometimes it might come down to knowing the strat to do it and not having the confidence to try it. Eat my steel. Like traiLZ will do all kinds of swaggy strats in a weekly race, whereas he may not try to do them during a race that matters like a tournament race would. So,
Yeah. Also, Taco did get the item out of P4, that is P5, but unfortunately just a magic container. Had to double check what color, but which house is bright green again.
Well, knowing what we know, I don't think I would put Magic Jar and Unfortunate in the same sentence.
Not particularly. Taco doesn't have fire, though, yet, is the thing.
That is true, but once Taco does get fire, they have Magic 6, and I think we'll be using the press fire to delete everything on the screen button early and often when it comes down to it.
Oh, for sure. Taco's actually at Magic 6, so I'm curious to see what the cost of Fairy is 25 at Magic 6. Okay. That's annoying.
But,
actually, no, Fairy's okay. I did catch Fairy. Looking. Yeah,
Well,
Magic's 25. It didn't catch fire. It doesn't have fire.
Well, Taco doesn't have fire, which makes it a little inconvenient.
Yeah, I just realized that mid-sentence. Whoopsies.
Oh no, traiLZ is going back into Palace 4.
Oh no, we know that whatever's here, it's not useful.
Correct.
Nice,
so,
but it's not useful.
So we might have ourselves a bit of an upset here with Taco taking down traiLZ, because Taco, to my knowledge, is the only one to find the flute, which is a required item to access Three-Eyed Rock.
Which we know is Palace 3 today. Because Taco is a newer runner and is having some issues with execution, but he already on Guma here, and the longer that traiLZ takes to find that flute, the more time Taco has to catch up in terms of progression.
Well, Taco's doing a good job of it. If they can execute on this fight with Boss Guma, this is basically, time that traiLZ is basically spending in the pits, as it were, kind of, changing his tires and going, alright, stopping for fuel and, to put it in. Oh no! Taco taking the L right before finishing off Guma, so.
Oh, that feels bad. He's doing a pretty good job with it, too.
Just, unfortunate. If I had shield or life, try to, increase the survivability, because we're looking at 3 hits for Taco, and he's out of there. Taking 1 from Guma, it looks like 2 blocks of life getting taken away.
Yeah, so, a bit unfortunate.
Oh, taking another hit, so.
That is down to 1-hit range, and with 4 bars of health left on Guma, this is.
Oh!
Oh!
So we saw Shatty struggle mightily with this fight, looking at the spell, going, yeah, I got nothing that can help me here, so.
No. Oh yeah, also, reminder, chat. It is a she, actually, for pronouns. Whoopsies.
Well, I try to say they when I don't know, but...
Yeah, I slip up. I know traiLZ uses he, him, and I am not entirely sure on Shatty or Artea. Well, Shatty is a he, him on race time, so... Okay, that works.
Well, we'll find out in the interviews once we're all done with everything. You know, get
And
to the
there's
mystery.
just a magic container for traiLZ out of P4.
So I can see traiLZ's mouth going with his camera that we have access to behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure it's not showing on the restream.
It is not.
Yeah, that's where the tracker is. So I get the benefit of seeing the raw feed from the runners. The tracker, unfortunately, blocking where traiLZ's face cam would be, and he is
Not amused.
that would be a yeah, that would be a proper way to put it.
Alright, traiLZ is unfortunately out diving P4. He was in P4.
Yeah, now
he was
he's
in
back
P4 earlier, now
item.
he's in P5. I got the two mixed up. P4 is dark blue, P5 is bright green. Either way, they're both useless.
And can you confirm or not if Taco finished P4 from it? That's saying it's not showing in the tracker, and with all four runners going, I find myself a victim of watching one particular runner try to fight a boss, for example.
Okay, chat is confirming that Taco did beat P4. Thank you. And is now beating P5, so has caught up to traiLZ actually in terms of progression at this point.
Well, Taco's
6-6.
actually ahead at this point because Taco has the flute.
Caught up in terms of dungeon completion, ahead in
Yeah.
terms of item correction.
Well, at this point, it's a matter of Taco making their way back to Three-Eyed Rock.
Which they should at this point.
They know where it is, if I'm not mistaken. It should be...
It's down to the south,
yeah.
down to the southwest here, to the south generally, on the southern coast, if I recall correctly, is where Three-Eyed Rock wound up. Yeah, it should be south of here.
So, Trail's finding another magic jar. So I think we need to cue that generic
Indeed.
for every location Trails checks now that ends up not being the flute.
Indeed.
Should be able to, in his head go, okay, we have, unfortunately, Mew fan, Thunderbird is actually Buster immune, so that's...
and I also forgot, thank you for reminding me, chat, that Trails did beat Barba earlier, so Taco still should do that, but it's gonna find, her way to P6 Three-Eyed Rock after clearing out a completely useless River Devil.
It may not be useless,
Well, it does have some amount of area luck behind it, but it's not going to lead to anything
that
essential.
could be the new
That's a dead
casino
end.
tile, but, I don't know if that's going to be of any value or just kind of... Yeah,
I think Taco's just leaving it behind. Nope. Yeah, I figured River Devil is dead. I mean, this cave might have a heart container or something, that's about it.
I think we have one heart container out and about, but at best this is like a one-up doll or a pea bag, maybe?
No, traiLZ has all 8 of everything. He has full health and full magic.
Okay, so this could, if it's anything, it's the cross then. Or...
Yeah...
it's junk no matter what.
It is junk, for sure, because we've
It's a
seen...
pass-through. Okay.
Okay, so River Devil's incredibly useful today. That pass-through dumping is out here. That pass-through dumping is out here near Nibiru, actually.
Alright, so if Taco can actually go around the south, they'll be able to access Three-Eyed Rock. traiLZ was right there. traiLZ up and A-ing and saying no mas to this nonsense. So I think traiLZ has some idea of where the
There's
flute is
shield
now.
at least for Taco, which will help, I think, for her.
And traiLZ finding the boots-blocked cave right next to the starting palace where the flute has been this whole time. So, the race is on now. traiLZ going to collect the flute, so... Oh, the upset special...
It's unlikely at this point, because Taco needs to make her way to P3 and then go beat P6. And,
for whatever reason, I don't think Taco remembers how to get to Three-Eyed Rock, but... Oh, this is such a shame. Taco had the perfect opportunity to be able to pull off an upset, but just not able to get it done. It's a shame when you get kind of debated like this in seeing a runner like traiLZ stumble.
Just taking a while to find that raft spot and then getting trolled by the flute. Like, trolled hard by the flute. It says something that traiLZ has managed to find all 8 heart containers and all 8 magic jars. That does not feel good. At all.
Alright, so Taco doing their best to collect some spells. Unfortunately, the spell not gonna be too useful.
Yeah. Oh, chat saying that there's Taco past the rock but seems to be farming for spells. Unfortunately, at this point, spell is of no particular use. 677. We know this is dead. What kind of dead is? Apparently a 500-point P bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, at best it's a P bag or a cross at this point. Can't be a heart, can't be a magic jar. You know...
Yeah, Taco is doing pretty well, though, for being fairly new to Zelda 2 Rando, because... It would give traiLZ a pretty good run for his money, actually, considering how this seed wound up going.
It would just be unfortunate if Taco didn't know Three-Eyed Rock has the palace. And if they didn't know that, that's just a shame. But what can you do? You know... Learn... Ah, right, the trophy, which would be a meaningless spell, like... Well, I guess not meaningless, it could be life, which...
It might have to be life at this point.
But, you know, aside from the potential of not knowing Three-Eyed Rock is a thing, this...
I don't remember if we've seen the item in P6 offhand. Oh, P3, by the way, is reddish-purple, actually, today.
So, traiLZ, first one of our runners into P3, which was gated behind the flute, Three-Eyed Rock. And it looks like... No, you know this is a dead end. That's a no.
Taco... Oh, this is just... She's losing so much time to this whole... trying out the River Devil just sent her down a rabbit hole.
It's just a total feels bad man moment, because you know, as the commentator, you know where the things are, and it's just like, oh, you saw it, that's just where you needed to go. And now the advantage that she had has now essentially
evaporated.
Because traiLZ is into the final palace.
And she's supposed to do both P3 and P6.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is.
So again, I don't want to diminish Shatty and Artea, who are in their own race. It's just a compelling story of
An underdog.
The underdog upset our reigning Max Rando champion and somebody who I believe finished 3rd in the standard tournament last year. So traiLZ is definitely somebody that I would mark as a favorite, out of the field that I've seen, that I go, okay, I look at the names and I go, okay, here's 4 people that I think are going to go far in this tournament and probably comprise the final 4 runners in the race, and I put traiLZ in that list.
I would as well, as he here finds himself a, what's this, Revenac?
That is correct.
And we'll be finishing it off shortly. It took a little bit to find it, but not too bad. Shatty is killing Guma at just about the exact same time. traiLZ picking up, gonna deposit his last gem. This should be Shatty's. This is gonna be Shatty's 4th. Taco is collecting every spell in the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is just an unfortunate side effect of Taco possibly just not knowing that they need to go to Three-Eyed Rock, and oh, what a shame.
It is unfortunate because they would have been in a really, really good spot. Like, if they had gone to Three-Eyed Rock and not gone down the rabbit hole they're currently going down, they'd actually be close with traiLZ, I think.
Well, if not better than close with traiLZ.
Right.
They're
losing minutes and just minutes.
Right. Taco needs to go down because that's where Three-Eyed Rock is.
Yeah, it's down to the southern coast somewhere.
Yeah, they're in the right area because it was to the right of where Valley of Death is. Now Taco's going to end up going into Valley of... Well, no, they can't go into Valley of Death, but they're looking into a part of the map where we know Palace 3 is, but unfortunately for Taco, the only conclusion I can come to at this point is they do not know that Palace 3 is gated behind the Three-Eyed Rock.
Right. Oh, man, like... This is just sad. Speaking of, traiLZ is on his way to Great Palace here.
Yeah, so
Artea and Shatty both unfortunately just clearing out P5, going to find a magic container and nothing else.
Well, I wonder what item both of them are.
The flute.
Correct. So, unfortunately, the flute, as we saw from traiLZ and from Taco a long time ago.
A very, very long time ago for Taco.
Yeah.
Been over half an hour. Like, I remember she finally found her raft at like an hour, like 51 minutes or something, and she'd had the flute for a good few minutes before that, so... probably going on 40 minutes that we've known about the flute at this rate?
Yeah, it was about 45
minutes
minutes at minimum in race time where Taco had the flute. But
Right, it's been
unfortunately...
quite a while. Just not having, not going to Three-Eyed Rock is really hurting Taco right now. GP is also bright pink again today.
Well,
Could be
it
worse.
was about a 120 and a half for traiLZ going into GP, so relatively speaking, not exactly the best time that traiLZ could have put up. The flute evading traiLZ for the better part of an hour until he finally figured out where that cave was.
Yeah, hi, RCS. Yes, this scene was fairly trolly, RCS. traiLZ here... so traiLZ here got badly trolled by the raft spot on the western continent, which was at the very southernmost edge of the continent. You couldn't get any further south than that. And they just wandered around the map for several minutes, just not finding the raft spot. And then missed the flu, unfortunately, because boots were in P2, which the runners pretty much all didn't dig the item out of right away, other than Artea. And flu was hard boots locked on the list, locking Palace 3 and Three-Eyed Rock.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you know, Taco going to get the bad news that Death Mountain is at the end of Valley of Death.
Death Mountain? You mean GP?
Yeah, that's it. Don't mind me.
It's Trails finds Thunderbird here.
You know, at this point, you could convince me Maze Island is on the Western Continent right now.
I thought my sense of direction was bad, Frico. Apparently yours is not any better.
You know, at this point, you know, we might need some item 2 to get, you know, across the chasm here. You know, having done Mega Man earlier in the day, Mega Man 2, I'm just like, oh, words, yeah. Words, yeah. Okay.
Fair thing, but there's Thunderbird down for Trails, and it's gonna now continue on through GP.
So, here's the big question. Because Artea went back into Palace 5, dug out the container. When are they going to figure out that the flute is actually in the Western Continent?
I'm not sure. I think they are going to finally pick up Reflect here nearly an hour and a half in as Trails is on Darkly. Oh boy.
Yeah, so I think the dream is unfortunately dead for Taco, as Trails finding Darkling just right after, you know, having a bout with Thunderbird. Shatty and Artea still locked in a battle to see who can find the flute first.
Indeed, Shatty digging out a useless P4 as Artea finally finds Reflect, and Trails finishes out the C. First place with a time of 1:25.34, getting his first win of Swiss.
Yeah, so Trails gonna move to 1-0. Taco, unfortunately, gonna take the L, but I think that was somewhat expected, given the quality of opponent that they were up against. Just, you know, the circumstances by which Taco ended up losing this particular race.
It's just unfortunate.
Because Taco's right around the area they need to be. They just need to go south.
And they'll find their Three-Eyed Rock.
And then, you know, what feels like half an hour worth of searching for this mystery palace will be
just sitting. Yeah, it's just been sitting right there. Like, when Taco went to the Eastern Continent, she had the flute, and then I'm pretty sure actually she was in go mode. She had all these songs and item spells, not words. She had all the spells and items to complete the game when she went east. Unfortunately, just hasn't managed to find P3, not realizing it's a Three-Eyed Rock.
Yeah, Three-Eyed Rock's right there, so it...
Okay, finally!
There we go!
Taco, finally! Is gonna pick up the P-Bag first, okay. And gonna go check out P3. Hopefully, not going in right away.
Offer expires while you wait. Operators are standing by. Oh
yeah.
no.
Oh,
no.
Taking a game over. Just. If there's any comfort, at least poor Taco managed to find P3 before taking that game over. I'm not sure why she wasn't going to P3 though. Like, she opened it up and then walked off to go do something else.
Well, that's the rookie mistake kind of biting you in the butt. Because
and also, losing that 1,000 point P-Bag too.
Yeah, well, you can go into Palace 3 sacrifice the 1,000-point P bag, but get your lives back.
And still stay on that side of the map. Now, Taco is to make her way all the way. Well, might go clear out P3 while she's on this continent, but we'll have to go back to Three-Eyed Rock.
I think it's P6 on this continent, but one way or another, I hear an intruder.
Oh, it is P6.
I believe we are joined by traiLZ.
Hey, traiLZ, GG's.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Oh, you have no idea how badly you should have got smacked in this race.
I was talking to my
God.
dad. I was just talking to my chat about that. I said, dude, if I was racing literally anybody else, I would have. They would have finished like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, you're right. You're literally right, because it took Taco about a half an hour
to find
the
P3.
location of P3.
Yeah, she only just found it about a minute ago and took a game over and is now back on the Western continent. She took a very, very long time to find the raft, but in the process managed to find the flute, and so was actually in item and spell go mode when she finally went east at like 52 minutes or something. Unfortunately, didn't open up Three-Eyed Rock. We're not entirely sure why. Maybe she doesn't realize that that's a palace.
Well,
And spent half an hour wandering around instead.
Well, she has the flute, and nobody else on stream does, so she's doing good in that regard.
She's had a flute for a long time, traiLZ. Like,
she's had
part of 40
for
or 50 minutes at this
45
point.
minutes now.
Wow, yeah, like Shatty's picking up the flute right now. That was such a really bad
Nice.
location for the flute.
It was.
It's such a remote location that you don't even think about looking at. But you know what? You eventually sussed it out that it had to be on the Western continent. It looked like you had checked literally everything else before that.
I miscounted. That's what happened. I thought I got 6 items in the West instead of 5. And look at that! Look at that location. It's totally boot locked.
It's blocked.
It is hard boots locked.
You know, this is a welcome to Z2R for the other 3 runners, unfortunately, getting confronted with a couple difficulties, and it looks like Artea finding Three-Eyed Rock, though
Unfortunately, doesn't have flute yet, and hasn't and needs to find that right now. Shatty has picked up flute. Taco is currently finishing out P6, and Shatty will also be doing P6 here as Artea tries to find that flute. That's what it is right now. Shatty and Taco both need P3 and P6, both have the flute, whereas Artea has done P6, but doesn't have the flute yet.
Flute wasn't required. I'd have been done 20 minutes ago. I would have spent the last half an hour looking for the flute.
I think you really could have had a shot at maybe an hour 10 at most, if the flute wasn't in that particular location.
I wasted a lot of time in P6 early on because of that tile set. I can't make that jump without the jump spell with that particular tile set. I don't know which... You know, if it's got the regular bricks, I know where to jump at to be able to make that without the jump spell, but with those little Pez looking like bricks, like I can't make that jump. I don't know where to jump from, so... So that's why I had to leave and come back. But I spent a good while inside P6 and didn't really get much accomplished. I got the item. It might have been a heart container.
I didn't even write down what the item was. It was so useless. It felt bad, traiLZ, that you ended the seed with all 8 heart containers and all 8 magic jars. Fully cleared most of the seed.
Yeah, that wasn't by design, and I could have found New Kasuto and all that stuff. I knew it was all hidden behind the River Devil, but at that point, like, it was irrelevant. Like, I was, for the longest time, I thought that the flute was a new Kasuto. And then after doing 3 laps around the east, I'm like, wait a minute, there's no way I can get to new Kasuto.
Yeah.
You would have needed the flute to get to New Kasuto, which would have made it a little difficult to, get the flute if you can't get to New Kasuto. So, is that what actually turned you on to the knowledge of, okay, it can't be on the East Coast, and then you sussed it out somehow?
Yeah, after my second or third trip around the whole east, and the sections and through all the caves, and at that point I found GP. So I had my map written out. So as soon as I was able to get that whistle, it was just bing bang boom done.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Hopefully you tighten up a little bit as you move through the Swiss stage of the tournament. I hate to see you take a couple losses due to old age or messing up a seed like this, traiLZ.
Yeah, no, I really need to get it together. That was a very poor showing of gameplay on my behalf. I've been playing the game nonstop for 3 years. Like, I should have done a little bit better than that.
Well, you still finished first out of the group, for what that matters, but I guess you finished first out of the people in your race. That's really all that matters, doesn't it? You get the W and move on.
Well, I finished last place with myself because
you're not wrong. I mean, Shatty finishing off Barba now. Taco is working her way through it, and poor Artea is still on a flute hunt.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're looking for love in all the wrong places. Looks like they're on the eastern continent still, when they need to be on the western continent.
Yeah, Artea is still on the eastern continent. Shatty accidentally found his way back to P1, needs to not go there, needs to make his way all the way to that raft spot. Shout out to that raft spot, by the way, traiLZ, all the way on the southernmost edge of the western continent. Took you a while to find that.
yeah, it was pretty confusing. I want to say that the way that this overworld map was laid out, it was really like, the game was pretty nice with having the glove pretty free at the beginning. Just like at the very beginning of Death Mountain, you found the glove and the boots, I think.
Yeah, boots were in P2 actually.
Yeah, boots were in P2, and then there was 2 really free easy items in Death Mountain, and I don't know, the seed was very nice up until around that.
The 1,000-point bag. The other one, I think, was
Death Mountain was P-bag and glove.
Okay, yeah, it was the glove and hammer kit.
I don't know if people were getting 1,000-point P-bag drops before I was, but I didn't get one for like the first 15 minutes. And then when I got one, I was like, holy cow, these things are dropping.
Not really. I think I saw a couple 700s, but looking at the levels, Shatty and Artea are at... Artea's 646, Shatty's at 667.
Taco should be something around 667 or maybe 667 or 677 or something similar. I'm pretty sure she and Shatty are of similar levels. So they're both trying to make their way back to Red Rock right now. Artea is getting lost on the eastern continent trying to find flute.
Which is on the western continent, unfortunately, but,
And Shatty, why are you going to the River Devil? Question mark?
I think remembers roughly where on the map it is, but he's gonna get the bad news when he walks to the end of this, going, oh, I needed to be further to the right on the map.
Oh, hoping that River Devil is a shortcut or something, right, too.
Yeah.
He'll find New Kasuto, and he'll find Bonner Pass.
Well, there's 2 towns down in this area once he goes through this pass-through.
Yeah, the Buru and I think New Kasuda are both down here somewhere.
But
we
had junk.
You can see 100% of all the items in this seed.
Did you actually hundo this? Where was the trophy and cross?
They're gonna be in New Kasuda.
Because the spell tower, I believe one of the runners picked that up. That was a P bag.
Yeah, only Taco's been able to do this spell tower because only she had the flute before Gomo, before finishing out the seed. Like, yeah, the spell tower was a P bag, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it was.
Well, one of the items was in Palace 3 I didn't get. That's right, I turned around. I didn't find the item useful at that point. I mean, to be honest, I was a little worried. To be, you know, if you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, this is your, you know, you're using your get out of jail free card right away in game 1 of the Swiss trails, so hopefully you don't have to find another one.
Yeah, because we were thinking that Taco could actually pull off a pretty big upset if she managed to remember Three-Eyed Rock was a palace. Unfortunately, wound up going in circles for a better part of, I don't know, 15-20 minutes at least instead.
Oh, she's in Palace 3 right now.
Yeah,
Correct.
she is. This is her last palace. She's had the flute for a while, just didn't do Three-Eyed Rock for reasons unknown.
Probably gonna come in second overall.
Yeah, she will, because Shatty is not in P3. Shatty's not in P3 and Artea doesn't have to, so Taco does look to be second here on this race.
Well, unfortunately, second place is still gonna take an L. Oh, now we know where the cross is. The old lady in New Kasudo had the cross.
Palace 3 has to have the Palace 3 has to have the trophy then.
Yeah. We saw the whole entire game. Just about.
So did it
Between,
take people did it take people a while to find the glove in Death Mountain?
Not especially.
No, they have
Unfortunately,
much free, and Artea finally going back to the Eastern Continent and like a homing missile going right to the spot where
Flute is. I mean, I don't think he has a whole lot left at this point. Seen most of the overworld map. Doesn't have much else to do.
well, Artea went through the map like 3 times over the Eastern Continent, so this is a little fishy, I think, with how quickly Artea just magically switched gears and tracked down the location of the flute. But, you know, it is what it is. So the race is back on between Shatty and Artea. Both have pulled out of the pits, as it were, spinning their tires for a significant amount of time.
They're neck and neck. They are
Shatty has a... Yeah, because Shatty seems to have forgotten Three-Eyed Rock or something. He's been going in circles for several minutes now trying to find it or something. I'm not entirely sure either what's up here.
Well, that could be the case all the same. With newer runners, they may be using flags that they're not familiar with compared to what is on offer here in the Swiss stage of the tournament. Three-Eyed Rock may be something that they are just simply not, you know, accustomed to doing.
Not realizing that that's a palace because it looks like both Shatty and Taco are getting trolled by it today.
Well, Artea was all around Three-Eyed Rock, so I think Artea is going to end up back by Three-Eyed Rock before Shatty at this point.
It looks like as Taco finishes off Ribonac, and we'll be depositing her last gem here, and be off to Great Palace.
You know, this is unfortunate for Shatty, but you know what? It is a learning experience. Well, it's kind of unfortunate for all three of our remaining runners as they're still going. But, you know, Taco had a legitimate shot at pulling off an upset against a very high-rated runner, and it looks like Shatty's on the right track as well to find their way into Palace 3.
Yep, with Artea now in Palace 3. Gonna be a very close race between these two. Shatty not far behind Artea getting into P3. It's gonna be an execution race between these two at this point. Taco is about a full P3 ahead, trying to get back to Death Mountain. Not Death Mountain, I'm hard words.
Yeah, Valley
of Death today. He's in the right part of the map, should be there shortly.
Yeah, unfortunately for Taco, their race is with themselves at this point. traiLZ did defeat Taco, traiLZ finishing with an official time of 125.34. So at this point, it may just be for tiebreakers where you don't want to forfeit. So I believe it counts as like a 10-minute time for any manner of tiebreakers if you do forfeit from any particular race. I'm not sure about the forfeit rule, but Shatty is just getting trolled here by... Alright, there we go. Finally landing a downstab. I would have considered using jump there just to make things a little easier on myself. But here we go. Taco, 145.36. Into the Great Palace.
GP.
Might be a PB for her.
Oh, nice.
Well, sitting on 688, so I think Firelink Thunder gonna be put to very big use here. Oh, a little late with switching over to Fairy.
That was a pretty nice Firelink to Thunder, too. Nice
Really
cheap Thunder for the day.
I didn't really take much advantage of it. But on a side note, this GP is actually pretty friendly. It's basically just hold right. If someone decides to not take the Eon drop, it's probably going to be the winner.
Oh yeah, like, right, because I remember chat mentioning that. That could be the difference between Artea and Shatty, because they're so close right now.
Well, I think the first runner that makes their way out of P3 at this point is Artea, just not wanting to use jump. Well, limited in their magic, having magic 4 still. That
having
low
significantly low at 646, easily the lowest of these runners in terms of levels.
But
and you
Artea,
finish this seed out with...
Yeah, I think the point you were going to go with was, traiLZ, do you remember what levels you had when you finished the seed?
I think I had 677, or 678 actually.
Sounds about right. Artea, unfortunately, just having very low magic levels in comparison to everyone else today.
Alright, it looks like they were able to pull off the proper strategy for dealing with a Ribonac, but there we go. Artea finishing Palace 3, so should have an advantage heading into Great Palace over Shatty. Taco making their way through, if for nothing else, pride at this point.
Yeah,
Getting a ton of points. The leaderboard's still fresh. So, like, your first race, if you get in second place out of 4, you're gonna get, like, 1,000 points just for that.
Nice. Yeah, Artea getting out of P3 just as Shatty gets into Rebanak here.
And Shatty having a bit of a time here with dismounting the Rebanak and not really seeming to be sure of themselves. Oh, here we go. Getting Rebanak trapped in the corner, so pogoing Rebanak down. Shatty gonna make their way out of Palace 3.
We'll be following Artea out to Great Palace now.
Artea has made up a lot of time and has actually surpassed a Shatty by a couple minutes now.
Yeah.
Alright guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll let you guys finish calming the race. But hey, thank you guys for everything that you guys do. Thank you, Star, for stepping up last minute. You did a great job, I'm sure. And you guys have a good night.
Thank you.
You too, Trail. Time to go back to the drawing board for next week's match.
I know, man. I need to do better. Alright, guys. See ya.
You got it. Good luck going forward, Trails.
Yep, good luck.
Thank you.
Alright. That was Trails, our first place finisher and winner in the match between Trails and Taco. Shatty and Artea still having a go at it. They are in a one-on-one match. This is the opening round of the standard tournament for Zelda 2 Randomizer. So these individual matchups will determine winners, losers, and, well, you want to be a winner more so than a loser.
Oh, for sure. Taco here now on Thunderbird is unfortunately out of magic and low on life, so is going to have to really watch herself here. This is going to be a bit of a rough fight, I think.
Oh, this is going to be more than just a rough fight, because...
I think she's going to have to take a death here to get magic and life back.
No.
Thunderbird...
There we go. Almost getting Thunderbird into a proper pendulum, but Taco is making this a little harder on themselves than they needed to, and unfortunately taking 2 hits, so...
Yeah. Does have plenty of magic and magic 8 at least, so has the magic to cast shield as well.
Well, if they had life, I didn't see it in the spellbook. That would help, but manipulating how Thunderbird moves is a big part of this fight, and I think Taco would be well served in using Reflect as well.
I believe she did cast that.
Okay. Because you have a bunch of free mana at this point, with fire being linked to thunder and essentially free, so you can potentially deflect away some of the fireballs that would otherwise hit you. That is correct, Shadow Magic.
Alright. Artea is making... and Shatty are both now in GP. And alright, there is Thunderbird down for Taco.
Alright, so all we have left is the Dark Link fight. I believe there's one room for Taco between victory and defeat here. So it is the Eon Drop room. So Taco just needs to make it to the end of this room and not take the drop. Well, among the minor detail of having to, survive the fight. I'm not sure if they have... Oh, no. The one spell they're missing. Life.
Yeah.
And I believe if Taco is not successful here, it'll be a game over.
Yeah, I think this might be her last life here.
Alright, so Artea into the Thunderbird fight. Gonna give it a go. We'll see if Artea's going to be
Nicely
successful.
done! Taco taking the Dark Link down here. And finishing in second with a time of 1:52.57. GG's.
Yeah, unfortunately, going to take the loss in this first match against traiLZ, but still, well done on setting, a time that ends up being second out of 4 runners in this race. So, a favorable matchup. They end up going against Shatty or Artea. They would have taken the win. Unfortunately, you get a bad matchup here, and nothing you can do.
And they did a pretty good, and they did a pretty good job too with traiLZ. Just that three-eyed rock just trolling both Taco and Shatty today.
So we'll see if we can get them in here for an interview. Understandable that this seed might have not been the easiest, so a little bit of frustration from the runner might rear its ugly head. So see if we can get confirmation one way or another for an interview.
Looking at race time, I think she will be joining us here shortly. In the meantime, Artea is working on Thunderbird. And there it is, Shatty on his way there.
Alright, so our race as a whole is now drawing to a close. Artea going into the Eon drop room. So the meta strategy, as it were, is to go to the right instead of just dropping down. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Hopefully, yeah, Artea making the correct call, going to the right. Shatty making a little bit of a pit stop here, picking up a ferry. So it looks like the match between Shatty and Artea going to end up with Artea taking a W if they can finish off this fight.
Indeed, because Shatty is still just a little bit behind right now.
Oh no!
Unfortunately, Artea taking a death there.
Well, the good thing is Artea had a life in reserve. Taco did not when they went into their Dark Link fight, which made that fight a little more tense. So Artea getting a bit of a reprieve, so full life, full magic. This should be a fairly simple fight, as Shatty making it to Thunderbird.
And that is Dark Link down for Artea. Finishing in third with a time of 1:55.54. GG's. And hey, intruder alert. Hello. Welcome in. Taco. GG's.
Uh-oh. I heard the intruder alarm, but I don't hear anybody speaking.
You are muted
Hello.
right now. Oh, there you are. Hello. GG's.
There we go. Now we hear word things. Excellent.
That was a seed.
All right,
It
so
sure was.
I think we'll just get right to it and rip the Band-Aid right off. What got you there?
I mean, I've been playing this about a week,
Okay.
so just inexperience, I suppose. This is the first time I've ever finished one of these in under 2 hours, so I'm taking it as a personal win.
Well done.
Nice. GG's then, yeah.
Well,
So I suppose we should explain to you Three-Eyed Rock today. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think with a little more experience, you could easily have finished this seed in about an hour and a half. If not sooner, because you had a major advantage over all of the other runners. You were the only one to find the flute.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
we found the flute some half an hour at least before traiLZ, and he was the next runner to get it.
And it just felt like you didn't know what to do with the flute. because Three-Eyed Rock was where we were like begging you to go, and it just didn't happen, which was
I saw one of the sand tiles, and I was trying to get to that sand tile before going to the Three-Eyed Rock. I mean, I didn't see the Three-Eyed Rock until towards the end there. So if it was on my screen, I did miss it.
Oh, that would explain a fair
Oh,
bit, because we
no.
were wondering why you didn't go there for so long. Because you had the flute well before everyone else. Like, it took a while to find that raft, but in doing so, you found your flute on the way, and you were the only runner to go to the east with that flute.
Ah.
Oh, nice. That was huge.
And if you had seen Three-Eyed Rock on your first pass by through,
Yeah,
that
if I
could've-
had found Dungeon 3 or Palace 3 earlier, yeah, I probably would have helped a lot.
yeah,
Wow.
just seeing Three-Eyed Rock, like, we weren't sure why you didn't go back there, because you wound up following the flute to the River Devil and wandering around for quite a bit there.
One up, you asshole.
Well, hopefully you
Oh, that was fucking
watch this race back, if only for one reason and one reason only, and that you can learn from what Trails maybe did or did not do compared to what you did. Hopefully it helps you learn going
Yeah, I
forward.
definitely do intend on, watching this back and watching a lot more of the races upcoming this tournament. Only reason I didn't
Well,
finish watching the other race was because my own started.
Mhm.
ah,
By
well,
the way, speaking of, intruder alert. Hello, Artea joining us. GG's.
Thank you. I kind of hate myself. Thank you.
well,
Fucking hell.
it was not the thinnest of seeds, but
I spent more time looking for Reflect. I was right next to start, and then an hour looking for the fucking flute.
Oh my
I had
God, yeah.
such a good start. I was like, all right, sweet, everything's going fine, and then, oh fuck, okay, well then, like, I didn't even realize I hadn't seen the Shield Town. I forget the name of it, but like, I was like, in my
Galrun.
mind, I'd already gotten it, so I was like, okay, I need to find the flute to get to like New Kasuto or something, and that's gonna have Reflect.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't
Well,
really have the heart to look at how much time I spent looking just for that stupid flute.
the
Probably an
correct
hour.
answer is many. Very
Yeah.
many.
The answer is yes.
Exactly. But
Yes.
one thing I was going to actually suggest for Taco, and while you're here, I may as well suggest it as well. The weekly races are run at, I believe, 9 o'clock on
9
Tuesday
Eastern.
nights.
Yes.
So it might give you some experience without having to officially take a win, loss, or otherwise. With
I used to run
mindset.
them. I used to run them a long time ago. I've just been out of. I haven't really played randos in like 8 months or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just putting it out there because, well, aside from having to potentially put up with my savage mockery, as the commentator for it, you will still be able to, have a go at a seed, and if nothing else, have more information to look back on and go, okay, how did Trails or whatever top tier runner that's on the restream, how did they handle things compared to how I handled?
Oh, I definitely earned more than just mild mockery on this one.
You may well have. I'm like, all right, they're newer runners, so I can't be completely savage with them. But there are a
So
couple times
for
where,
future reference, just say whatever you want, and I'm okay with it. Be
Yeah,
as
I
savage as you
fully
possibly can.
welcome the trolling. I can dish it out, so I better be able to take it.
Legitimately, anything that may have crossed your mind, I guarantee my neighbors heard worse tonight.
Oh no. No.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
That reflector, remember Freaka was like, it's gotta have reflect by now, right? And I was like, it doesn't look like it on the tracker.
Yeah, that's the only problem is for people on the restream side of things, the players and the viewers can see the tracker. Unfortunately, I can't because
Yeah,
it's
I
not
was.
on the commentary stream that I'm using to watch things, and I'm like, Star, help me out here. Can you pull up another window so we can kind of have a quasi tracker for us? So I was kind of getting things confused with like who had reflect, who had the flute, who had, these items that were trolling the runners. Like Taco found the flute 45 minutes in.
Due to not finding the raft for quite a while.
But that actually ended up helping
Right,
with
because
not finding the raft, because not finding the raft led to the flute before finding the raft, and unfortunately the execution on the eastern continent was a little unfortunate. But for somebody that's taken part in the randomizer for a week,
that's
not the
very well
worst.
done.
You know, I don't even want to say how long it took me the first couple seeds that I did. I don't even think I finished the first 2 or 3 of them because I just got so mad. But when I finally did finish one, I think it was about 4.5 hours by the time I finished. But then you learn and start to, okay, here's the little tricks of the trade that I know the seed might throw at me now, so I know what to look for, what not to look for, which caves I want to explore as opposed to which ones are going to be very likely needless pass-through caves, among other things. Shatty's making a mistake by not realizing fire and thunder are linked together. Shatty's using
Oh,
magic on thunder itself and not being able to cast reflect, for example, and this is costing them dearly in this Thunderbird fight.
right, because Artea, you and Shatty were very close at the end, just a couple minutes behind
Oh
Taco.
god, Shatty doesn't have fire.
Yeah, he
Oh wait,
does.
no, there it is. I was like, wait a second, no, I saw the blank spot and thought it might have been fire, but that's life that's in that blank spot.
He
But
has fire,
Shatty,
he just never tested it? Question mark?
yeah,
Um,
that is definitely something you want to do, is test the fire spell when you get it, because for the, I think the Swiss and the brackets, fire will be linked to another spell. And I
Yeah.
believe Taco found that out. So, it's just these minor little things that, could be the difference between wandering around aimlessly for half an hour looking for a reflect spell, for example, when you take something for granted.
Right.
At this point, I think Shatty's got it on lockdown. There we go. Thunderbird's out of there. So
Alright.
Shatty's got one more decision to make, and it's not to take the Eon drop. And then they will be taking on Darkling. Should be pretty free given that Shatty's on 677. And we should have this, at least from the actual racer's standpoint, everybody finished, which is a good thing. So Shatty into the Darkling fight.
Well, we'll definitely continue then. We don't beat him here.
And if there's, anything that you guys want to say, gals, go for it. I mean, it's an open floor, as it were, open mic, whatever you want to call it. So anything that
trackers would be useful.
yes, they will. From a player's perspective and a commentator's perspective, yes, trackers are useful.
Yeah.
It can confirm this for you.
Yes, I wound up flipping back and forth between a couple of different tabs. I had the commentary restream, I had the restream, I had a notes pad up, I had a little cheat sheet I used to remember how to tell the dungeons apart. It got to be a lot. As GG's Shatty finishing 4th place and last at the time of 2:08:08. GG's.
Yeah, so Shatty's gonna, finish out the race for us from the runner's perspective. See if we can get allowed. Oh yeah, absolutely. Runners are allowed to use trackers during the races.
Just not auto trackers, I don't think.
Because on the commentary stream, I can actually see Shatty's tracker.
Yes,
that
we
they're
can.
using. So, yeah. So there's things like, certain caves have items in them, and I believe there's 6 items that are on the Western continent compared to the rest of the items being on the Eastern continent.
Right,
Plus
or like you
the
can see
palace.
like where each palace is. You can see all the caves. You can see completion of each palace. It's a little hard to read because it's tiny on our screens, but it is nearly legible.
But it has things like Hammer Cave, Medicine Cave, Trophy Cave, Spectacle Rock, the 2 caves on the east that have items in Peabag Cave, Trophy Cave.
I think you mentioned Trophy Cave already, but yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go through them all, and if I happen to mention one twice, then so be it.
Angry Larry have made one that I was using a long time ago. I don't know if that one's still available. It actually showed you all the entrances, and you could track your Death Mountain caves and everything like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Trackers are very nice, not just for this random, but for other randoms as well. Just remembering what you have, where you've been, where you're going.
Yeah, remembering that you still have an item cave on the Western continent could be useful. Not spend an hour looking for,
I was going to be a little more subtle and, approach it from the standpoint of, I think one of the runners, may have miscounted their items and didn't realize that it was on the Western continent, the item that they were missing. But, once you suss that out, I mean, you went right there and like a homing missile, it felt like, ran right over there, picked up that flute, and were back on your way after a little bit of a pit stop, taking in the scenery.
I was mapping out the entire game. That's all it was.
We did end up seeing the entire game. I don't know about you. Trails ended the scene with like 6, 7, 7 or something like that. All like card containers and all like magic stars.
Yeah. I definitely saw every single room in 6 and 5, which is if there are 2 places you don't want to full clear, those are the 2.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they were just for magic containers too. So.
Yeah, that's the worst part, is you spend all that time because you're looking for the flute, and then
you up it, you're like, okay, maybe I forgot something on the Western. Oh my god, there's Reflect.
Yeah. Alright, well, I heard a Discord ping, so I believe Shatty is now joining us in the chat as well.
Yeah, hello, GG.
GG, Shatty.
GG. Alright, so if you had to sum this seed up in one thing that caused a little bit of trouble, what would it be?
For me?
Yes.
I did pretty good, I thought.
Okay.
I'm not very good at this, so I thought it went really well.
I mean, some people, like traiLZ, who was part of the stream, he's like, oh my god, this is like the worst seed I've done in, ages. And, I see 3 people that I'm going, all right, I think I've seen one of them before, but I'm like, all right, are the others new to this? So
We had no reference on you guys really going in.
Yeah, fairly new. This is my first tourney for sure. But
Okay.
yeah, I knew I'd missed that cave on the west. I guess that would have helped where the flute was,
Well-
but then the flute didn't even really do much.
Well, the flute allowed
Open
you
the dungeon.
access to Palace 3, so it was definitely a
Right, I
required
knew he
item.
needed it.
But, hopefully as you start playing a couple seeds, you start to get into how the seed likes to lead you around. Things
I feel
like,
like I missed boots kind of early. That would have been nice. That
Boots
helped
were
speed
in
things up a little bit.
2, if I recall correctly, which was one of the earlier palaces that were available.
Yeah, I think they were glove blocked, and I went through 2 without gloves, and so wasn't
Oh,
really planning on going back.
Okay.
Just bad timing, really.
Well, that would definitely explain that. That's for sure. But, one thing I would potentially suggest, since you are a newer runner, join the weekly race, which is happening tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Get a little more experience if you so desire. For, you've got a couple more matches ahead of you. I believe there's 4 matches in the Swiss stage, if I remember correctly. So I believe you need to win 2 of them to move on.
Our goal is 1 win.
All right. Well, hopefully, you're able to realize that. But, at the end of it all, I always want to root for the runners. I don't ever want to see a runner lose, but, I also want to put you in a position where you're better suited to potentially win a seed against another runner, because this was a struggle between both you and Artea. It was, I think, 7 minutes difference between the 2 of you? 8?
It was
A little more.
was-
13.
it was 12 minutes.
Yeah, the Thunderbird fight.
I was gonna say it would have been closer if I could beat Thunderbird.
Yeah, you guys were really, really close in P3, and then Shatty, did you ever check fire?
I did check fire. Why? What was it?
Thunder?
Oh yeah, I already had Thunder. Oh, I guess I could have cast it there at the end, but
Yeah.
Here's a tip: fire is almost always considerably cheaper than thunder. It would have let you cast Reflect or Shield or something else that would have helped.
yeah, it's really tough for me not getting early, or I never got life, but not getting early life or shield when you're first
Life
starting out at this game
Life
is
was
tough.
gated behind the trophy, and I don't think anybody got the trophy.
Nope.
I'm gonna assume it was a new Kasuto.
It was actually
Or
not.
6.
It was not.
Was it in? Could have been in 6.
Trophy
Those are the only two
was
items I missed.
the trophy was turned in at the second town, Raru, I believe, if I remember my towns correctly. But the order the spells are listed are actually linked to the town that they're in. So the last spell is the spell that you find in Old Kasuto. The one over top of it, the spell is the new Kasuto slot. I forget what the rest of them are, but they are slotted into the specific spots where you find the spell in the town. So if you look at your spell list and you go, oh, well, I'm missing the second spell. I go, okay, the second spell is Raru. I'm not sure if I have the right town or not, but, you know, okay, now I have to go to Raru. That's where the second spell is. Oh, wait, the second spell
the
is...
The town that you get trophy from is Rudo. The all-brown one.
I knew it was an R.
Raru is Firetown, I believe.
Yeah, I had to just go look at the notes sheet for that one.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's one of those things that I know it, but it's like, alright, it's the town with the R that, you know, you need the trophy for. And I'm like, oh, right, whoops. But, you know...
Yeah, it's fine.
The town names, Old Kasuto, New Kasuto, Darunia, Saria, those are the ones I can remember. The other ones, hit or miss if I remember them or not, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes down to it, you look at your spell book and go, okay, I'm missing slot 2. Okay, where was that town? Do I remember where that town is? Okay, that's where I need to go. You know, if it's the 7 or 8 spot, then it's New Kasuto or Old Kasuto. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, now I need to go there to get that spell. And the ones that are gated behind items, the trophy, medicine, and child, well, you just have to make sure you have that item before you go into that particular town.
Speaking of, make sure you have the item, because otherwise, you just wasted some time walking over there.
Well, it's entirely possible to go into Upstab Town, or Downstab Town, as it were. You know, turn in the medicine to get jump or fairy from turning in the medicine so that you can then, on your way out, pick up Downstab. In the rare cases where you don't already have a way to get to the Downstab Weapon Master. So, you know, turning in the spell is sometimes ideal, but... Or it turns into a good situation where it could be potentially crappy.
That's a lot of screens just for a spell that you might not be able to cast, though.
Well, early on, it's not always a spell you're going to be able to cast. Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3 for that matter, any spells you get are not going to likely be castable unless the game is literally forcing you to go into a palace, which it won't do until you have either the key or fairy, because the game does not assume that you will have enough keys to pass through the doors to finish out the palace. So, a little fun fact for those of you that did not perhaps know. The logic of the seed will never force you to double dip or having fairy cast or not as a story, or the key. So, with getting the key so early in this seed, the game is going, okay, there's going to be something useful, and it was in Palace 2 that the game wanted you to find, which was the boots, which then led to the flute, allowing access to Palace 3, and the wrap tile as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Taking of that wrap tile, nice spot we're at.
But Artea, if you are still here, was there any specific logic behind how you handled your levels?
Not really. Well, I mean, it's always pump up attack as much as you can. Once I saw that attack 6 was hitting hard enough, I just didn't really care past that point. Okay. Especially once the I believe it was 1,000 P bag or something started dropping. At that point, I just said, okay, screw it. I can just do whatever. It doesn't matter because bags are going to keep dropping, and it'll even out to something that's decent enough.
Okay. So I think one of the things that might have bit you in the butt, although, well, I mean, it didn't quite.
It was
correctly,
really just
magic levels were real low.
Yeah, but I didn't. It was literally just I got kicked by Overworld. Spent an hour and a bit more than that looking for crap I should have found before I went east.
Oh yeah,
So that was pretty much it.
It just feels like, you know, you had Fire Link Thunder.
Yep.
And it felt like you could abuse it if you had better magic levels to the point where you could potentially backfill.
With the magic
level.
I had, fire was 17, so I could really spam thunder. Which is exactly what I did on T-Bird, just to clear the screen of his missiles whenever.
Fireballs, yeah. I saw you do that. And that was actually a very good idea. Not many people actually think of doing that, to be honest. So, well done on that adaptation of the strategy.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, I think if there's anything anybody wants to say at this point, I'd say go for it, because I'm at the point where I think I've gone over everything that needed to be gone over. So if there's anything, you know, Star, Artea, Shatty, go for it.
Thanks for the restream, the tracking and commentary. GG's to Artea. See what happens next round. Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for you guys for putting this on.
Yeah, good luck to you both.
Oh, good luck to everybody. You got a couple matches ahead of you. You know, that's... I'm not sure if it was a good thing or a bad thing that you took the win this time around, Artea. So you're looking at some hefty competition that might be also in that 1-0 bracket.
Oh, I mean, at some point you're gonna face them anyway, so might as well get it out of the way early on.
Fair enough. You know, you could end up against traiLZ. There's a bunch of runners that might end up going 0-1, because we've got a couple matches that I would probably say are worthy enough of being, you know, almost, you know, semifinals or so worthy between, you know, runners like Rose City Saint and Jay Coper, who are both runners that I would say are very good, and one of them is unfortunately going to have to lose. And, you know, there's going to be a couple whammies that may get in the way, even for those who end up 0-1. So hopefully you can avoid those.
I mean, even if I avoid everyone, at some point I'm gonna wind up playing against Simple Dude or traiLZ or Dick Shake or other people that are just gonna completely destroy me anyway. So I mean, I'm just in this for fun. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, it is the right way to look about it, you know. I guess the expectation is what you set it at, and if you're able to meet that expectation, that's fantastic. I think, you know, I am a little bit more competitive than I would like to admit to. So, you know, even though I will probably on paper get slaughtered if I were to go into a race like this, I always have that mindset of I expect to win until my opponent dones before I do.
It's funny because I picked up Rando just to improve my combat in vanilla. I was running at 90% and I thought I sucked. So I was like, okay, what's the most brutal thing I could possibly do? So I just started grinding out finals flags. I grinded out finals flag for like 3-4 seeds a day for 6 months, and then it was like, okay, I'm good. Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Some weird combination of masochism and alcohol.
All right. Well, I think.
On that note, I think we're pretty much wrapped up.
Yeah, we've hit the 2.5-hour mark. So with that, our day
Getting
is
a little long for Z2R.
So again, Artea, well done on taking the win in your particular matchup. For those still hanging around, traiLZ was victorious over Taco, as Artea was victorious over Shatty in the first matches of our Zelda 2 Randomizer Standard Tournament. And to all runners, good luck going forward, and especially to you, Artea, since you've stuck around with us till the end. Good luck going forward in your next matches. Hopefully you're able to make the brackets and see how far you can go from there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, anything you want to say, Star, before we shut it down?
Not particularly, just the standard. Shoutouts to our forerunners, traiLZ, Taco, Artea, and Shatty. GG's especially to the winners of the 2 matches, Artea and traiLZ. Good luck to them all on future matches. Shoutouts to my co-com here, Frico, helping me out to my first comms. This was an adventure. And shoutouts to our tracker, Ghost Duncan, to our restreamer, Shadow Magi.
That all said, I think we've tied everything up for tonight in a nice little bundle, and we'll send it off to